Hey everyone, welcome to the Royce Reports. I am your host, Royce, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Playground's Fable. And you're probably thinking, well, why now? Well, because it's my YouTube channel and I feel like talking about Fable. But because of the holidays, Fable kind of brings that holiday sense and holiday cheer. And I kind of always think about Fable during the holidays. I know that the holidays have passed, so it's been a while since it took me a while to get this video out, but I really just want to talk about what Fable means to me and if Playground Games can actually do the franchise justice. So let's talk about it. This is an Xbox-centric channel, so if you like all things Xbox and you like talking about games a little bit too much, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comment section below what Fable means to you, because I know that Fable means different things to everybody. And in fact, that's what we're going to discuss today in this video, is what Fable means to me. And by looking at the one gameplay trailer that we do have of Fable, we can kind of compare those things. It seems like the release date for this game possibly, in my opinion, is going to be at the earliest late 2025, most likely 2026. I feel like that's how far we are away from Playground's Fable. And we can kind of get an idea of that just because of who they're still hiring. They're still hiring for a lot of key roles for this game. And I feel like we still have quite a bit of ways to wait. But we do luckily have a gameplay trailer that we could kind of dissect and kind of see what my standards are for a Fable game, and see if Playground Games meets or even exceeds that. One of the things that I look for in a Fable game is, I think the most important thing, and that's why I'm talking about it first and foremost, is choice and consequence, good and evil. I think these two combined together really make the Fable franchise. If you go back and look at the cover art for the Fable games, they always show the duality of both good and evil on the cover, because that's how important it is for this franchise. And if you've ever played a Fable game, you know how deep those roots run, because you can be heavily good or you can be heavily evil, and it impacts the story, it impacts the way people around you react to you being near them. Does Playground capture that? And it's really hard to tell based off of the gameplay trailer. There isn't really much of a defined showcase of this at all in the trailer. Hopefully they capture this. This is something that's really important to me, and it actually kind of scares me a little that we didn't get any indication of this. Now, a lot of games have gone away from the classic Paragon and Renegade karma system, good, evil. We don't really get those anymore. That was definitely a 360 thing, and for some reason game developers want to go away from that. They want to go away from choice and consequence because they're afraid you might not see everything. They're afraid that, you know, most of the people are going to go down one route and one route only. And this leads to those fears. And from all of the statistics and metrics, it shows that that's exactly what happened. So I understand how some game developers kind of don't want to go down that route, don't want to chase that route, and they kind of just want to ride that morally gray line. And I think that Fable as a franchise has always done an excellent job of providing you that choice and consequence and allowing you to be who you want to be. And from what we can gather from this trailer, it seems like they're kind of taking that away from you a little bit. We know this based off of the model that they're deciding to use for the Fable game. And I know that the model may be able to change, and that Fable isn't really about having your own character and creating them the way that you want, because it's honestly very limited. But, you know, there is some sway that you do have over that. And from who they hired as a face model for this character, it seems that that is not going to change, that you are going to be stuck as this character. There might be a male version of this character, or they might use this character model for both male and female. Who really knows? That's probably why they might have went with a more androgynous kind of look. But from what I can gather, we haven't really yet seen the customization abilities or the choice and consequence that Fable is known for. So hopefully in the next reveal for Fable, they can kind of go in depth with how choice and consequence actually play a role in this series. The second thing that I think is actually one of the most important pillars of Fable is the humor. I think humor is very key, and I think this trailer blew me away with them being able to capture that perfect dry British humor. I think it was fantastic. I laughed and chuckled many times throughout this trailer. There was actually a moment in the trailer that a lot of people started giving flack towards Microsoft for as being woke because they made their character ugly, which I think is kind of bizarre, because that was the whole point of the joke. That was the intention of the joke, of heroes being always pretty and always handsome and muscular and large and walking around like they're hot shit. And then what you actually see is a record scratch moment of a hero not being any of those things. And I think that was the joke. And I feel like people kind of had that go right over their head, and they just assume that Microsoft is now woke because of that. But I think the humor is there, and that is a key role. If you go back to all of the other Fable games, you will see this, that it is a huge thing for them. You have them kicking chickens, which is fantastic and is actually shown, and you have them constantly coming up with crazy ideas of how they progress through the world with the world events around you, and the humor of farting in people's faces and shit in your pants. All of that I feel like is going to be carried forward into this, and I think that Playground Games, mostly because they're British, understand the British humor. So I think we are safe to say that the humor is going to be there, and I'm glad, because that is a huge staple for the Fable franchise. Something that I feel like a lot of people might not be talking about, but is actually one of the most important things for this franchise, is the music. Music is key. I think that this is actually my number one thing that I'm looking forward to, because music is what got me into Fable, bizarrely enough, because of the Fable IGN review for Fable 2. That was my first entrance into the Fable universe, and it was solely because of the music. I was so lost and entranced within this music. It actually captures the perfect setting. It is magical and whimsical. It's fantastical. It is just rife with fantasy, and it really brings out the setting perfectly. And I think that going into this, you're gonna get great music. And what's awesome about this is, even though you can't really hear it inside the trailer itself, but leading up to the reveal of Fable, Xbox marketing actually had a little breadcrumb trail leading to the date of the Fable announcement at the June showcase, and they used Bowerstone Market music. But internet sleuths found out that this was actually not the Bowerstone Market music that was used in Fable, but it was actually a revamped and modernized version of it. So what that tells me is that potentially we might get Bowerstone in Fable, just like we've seen it in the previous Fable games, and that they are strongly making sure that music is going to be a mainstay for this franchise. One of the things that I feel that I have to touch on is the idea of what Fable is. And what I mean by that is, Fable, the story overlaps with each other. Fable 1, 2, and 3, they all take place within a confined universe of Albion, and each Fable sequel has the previous Fable kind of as a fable in the current game, as a story, as something that they tell their children, and things like that. And the hero is creating the fable in that game for the next game to be talked about, and you are the one who is choosing what happens. When I looked at this Fable, it was kind of interesting because I feel like they're going a different route. They're not going the same route of you are the hero creating a fable, but you are actually visiting other famous fables and kind of altering things, or maybe helping the people that are affected by these fables. And I kind of found that interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because I feel like that could potentially take away choice and consequence if there are structured missions and you approach them in a certain way. And another aspect of this seems to appear that they're actually giving the main character a voice. The character kind of talks in the trailer. So because of this and because of the history of video games, you can kind of expect that there's going to be less choice and consequence, mostly because the limitation of allowing a character to talk and to speak means that you have less options. Just naturally, that is just the case. Now, there's a few exceptions like Cyberpunk or The Witcher 3, but at the same time, Cyberpunk really choice and consequence in that game. There's like maybe 3 or 4 big choices that you make, and that pretty much just dictates what the ending of the game is going to be, and that's really it. The Witcher, on the other hand, has a vast amount of different choices and stuff. Just having a character voice in itself kind of presents a limitation. I mean, we've seen it before. Does this mean that there's not going to be any choice or consequence or good and evil? Not necessarily, but this is something that you might want to be wary of. I wonder how they're going to approach the story. You can't really get a full grasp on what they're doing in the trailer, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look like I'm going to enjoy this direction of Fable just based off of just the story. I think they captured the humor perfectly. I hope that they do a great job with delivering choice and consequence, being good and evil. I really want a game to give me that option because I really miss those games, and I think that the music is right. So I feel like, all in all, I feel like they're going in the right direction and they're trying to make it different, which is always good. It's refreshing, and they're taking their time with this. That is important. And it seems like they have a great team backing them. And with how big Playground Games is now, I feel like Microsoft truly believes in what they're doing over there at Playground, that they're giving them the resources and the money to back up this game. I really do think Fable is going to land, and it's going to land well. But what is it that you're looking for in a Fable game? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll be in the comments talking to you guys about this, because Fable is a very important franchise to not just me, but I know to many of you, but also to Xbox. This franchise is finally coming back after so long of just being dormant, and it is great and refreshing to see it have a new life, and hopefully this new direction that they do take Fable in is a good one. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thanks to the 550 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, so hopefully we can make that happen. So be sure to help me out by hitting that sub button. But thank you. I'll be seeing you guys on the next one, and remember, take it easy.